Welcome everyone to my review of IDW Sonic issue 78. Before we get started, I'd like to let you all know that there will be spoilers for everything IDW Sonic related, that is this issue, past issues, and future issues from this point forward. We're entering the third part of Scattered Pieces, the arc that deals with the aftermath of issue 75's events. The first issue of this arc established its direction, how certain groups are picking up the pieces. In the previous issue, we followed the Sonic and the Chaotix plot thread regarding the fate of Clutch the Possum. We'll see that storyline continue thanks to previews for issue 80, so I'll hold off on things there until then. Today's story will focus on the Amy, Tails, and Blaze plotline. To get everyone up to speed here, Restoration HQ is in ruins, and Amy and Tails plan on visiting the Restoration regional offices and make sure the network doesn't collapse. Blaze, feeling like she should have been more involved in our hero's struggles rather than vacationing with Silver, joins them. Based on the covers, our favorite imposters are also making an appearance. Their story so far is that they plan on being heroes while dealing with Sonic, Tails, and Eggman. However, according to Kit, Surge wants to be a hero for real, and to make sure he keeps himself useful to her, he plans on causing mayhem so Surge can save the people and get the praise she deserves. How do they factor in Tails', Amy's, and Blaze's quest? The only way to find out is to dive right into the issue. Tails, Amy, and Blaze are approaching Barricade Town by car. Yeah, the three had to land the plane and get a car due to Blaze's fear of heights. And this specific car just happens to be Tails' All-Star Racing transformed vehicle. Anyway, Barricade Town. Things are pretty fine considering the place has been through the Melvirus Plague, Rough and Tumble, and the Sonic Forces War, or the Eggman War as the issue officially calls it. The three head into the Restoration Regional Office, where Amy informs the receptionist about the fate of headquarters. Right away, the receptionist goes to contact the offices in the immediate area and dispatch supplies and volunteers to Emeraldville pronto. With Barricade Town checked out, our trio then move on to their next destination. En route, they spot a fire at Glass Hill. Blaze immediately rushes to try and help, but the restoration outpost in the area has already dispatched firemen to take care of the problem. One bystander says as much. In fact, this person is part of the restoration volunteer force bound for Emeraldville. He states that while helping the area is the right thing to do, he feels like he needs to go to that place because he personally owes it to them. In case you haven't figured out who this monkey is, it's the same one that snuck into the old Restoration HQ while infected with the Melvirus and caused an outbreak there. Credit where it's due, he's trying to atone for that kerfluffle. Oh, and the girl in the background is the same one the monkey had a chat with prior to HQ's outbreak. I guess that incident didn't ruin whatever potential friendship that was developing between the two of them. With things under control in Glass Hill, and many of the other regional offices, the three have one more place to visit, Turtle Shell Island. En route, they are relieved that despite HQ getting wrecked, the organization itself is more or less intact. Blaze herself praises Tails and Amy, and many of the others who were involved, for laying down the foundation of a lasting legacy. When they arrive at Turtle Shell Island's town, like all the other places they visited, it's in no danger. Good for the heroes, bad for a couple of visitors to the place, Surge and Kit. Mainly because they're searching for trouble so they can be heroes, and so far the town is boring. That's about to change as a bomb destroys one of the town's anchor buoys. Tails points out that 6 anchor buoys are needed to keep the town suspended over the lake, and with one gone, the imbalance and strain on the remaining 5 will cause the town to start tipping towards the water. This leads to Surge coming up with the wrong conclusion, destroying a matching buoy on the other side to restore balance. She heads off with Blaze following in order to stop her. But it's too late. Surge severs another anchor. Now the town will start sinking faster. Thankfully, the local restoration members have planned for this scenario and have begun evacuation procedures. Amy volunteers to comb the town for stragglers, and when Surge and Blaze return, Amy drafts the former into helping her. As for the town itself, Tails comes up with a possible solution. there is still an active volcano under Turtleshell Island, and Tails wants Blaze to use her powers to make a thermal vent. The hot gases should keep the town afloat long enough to repair the buoys. To make sure Blaze reaches the right spot underwater, Tails wants Kit to use his skills. Kit's worried about stealing Surge's glory, but Surge tells him to follow Tails' orders. She'll still get the credit by proxy. Kit forms an air bubble around him and Blaze, and they head down towards the ocean floor. Blaze motivates herself into creating the thermal vents by telling herself that thanks to her friends, her abilities are not a curse, but a gift, and she will help them as they've helped her. With the vents created and the gases released, Blaze and Kit float back to the surface, and the town is held in place. Tails heads off to make a temporary workaround for the anchors, while Amy makes sure everyone's accounted for. This leaves Blaze to thank Surge and Kit for their help, despite Surge's earlier stunt. Surge and Kit leave, with Surge being disappointed that she did not get any praise from the people this time. Kit says there will be other opportunities for them down the line, especially if Kit secretly causes the mayhem. Oh, in case you haven't figured this one out by now, Kit was the one who caused the disaster of the first anchor, all in an attempt to make Surge a hero. The issue ends with a teaser into the next one. Whisper is sitting in a cafe. Out in the open and unarmed, she says to the server that she's waiting for a friend. In the distance, she's being watched by none other than Mimic, who decides to pay her a visit. All in all, Tails, Amy's, and Blaze's mission to make sure the Restoration Network is intact has largely been a success, and it's thanks to the foundations previously laid out by Amy and Jewel. More so the latter in my opinion. Presumably under Jewel's leadership is when the network and regional offices were set up, and as we saw in this issue, not only are they thriving, they're pooling their resources into helping Emeraldville, the location of the destroyed HQ. This kind of organization falls in line with Jewel's style, doesn't it? No wonder Clutch wanted the place for himself. So why would Jewel want to quit the Restoration in the first place? This goes back to what I said in my issue 76 review. It's her needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few decisions she made in issue 75. Sacrificing a few people to save others is not something she can cope with. Fortunately, she had the right people present to prevent casualties, and all that was lost was a building. As Jewel's friends remind her, the Restoration is the people, and we do see these people in action, putting out fires with repurposed egg tech, and organizing an evacuation of a town. And kudos to the Restoration members present at the town for having procedures in the event of sinking and a volcanic eruption. While having things under control is fine and dandy, some individuals might find the piece dull for different reasons. Blaze the cat feels like she needs to help her friends, even though she's on Sonic's world for a vacation. Again, I refer to my issue 76 review to illustrate my point. She has all these powers and the need to do good, but when situations come up where she could have been useful, she's off somewhere else, or someone else has it covered. Out of universe is for plot convenience, but in universe, it's killing her inside that she should have been present in order to make a difference. And when that moment finally comes in this issue, it's to do a task she's never done before. But she believes in her friends, and they helped her out in the past. It's only right that she returns the favor, and will overcome this hurdle to help them. As Blaze said it herself, it's the Restoration way. And she kinda is an honorary member if you take into account this issue, and her and Silver delivering supplies during their world tour in a previous issue. She has really come a long way since her debut in Sonic Rush. TLDR, she was basically a loner before befriending Sonic and his friends, especially Cream the Rabbit. The other individuals having a problem with things being peaceful due to the Restoration are of course Surge and Kit. Well, mostly Surge. And it's for the same reasons I mentioned in the 2024 annual review. Surge wants the glory and praise of being a hero, not realizing that true heroes do the right thing because it's the right thing, and not for the fame. In fact, this issue serves as a nice visual compare and contrast between Surge's heroics and the actions of true heroes. Besides her quest of seeking praise, Surge's attempts at heroism are sloppy and destructive. which shows her inexperience and her need to be a hero quickly. And when pulled into actual heroics, like searching the town for stragglers, she finds it boring. Meanwhile, Amy, Tails, and Blaze are all business, saving the town and the people because it's the right thing to do. Take, for example, Amy Rose, who could be considered popular in a way due to her association with Sonic for one, only introduces herself as a member of Restoration HQ to the various representatives and asks how she can help. In fact, some representatives don't recognize her as Amy Rose, but as some random citizen at first. Which is fine because, again, she's all about business. Based on Surge's reactions to Blaze telling her off, and Amy drafting her to help search the town, the Tenric wants to be a hero, but realizes such a thing takes work and humility. Which reinforces my point about Surge wanting to do things quick and easy. Now, some would compare Surge's actions with the anchor buoy to that of, say, Sonic kicking the cacophonic conch away from Eggman and Sonic Lost World. Both were rash decisions based on incomplete information provided by Tails, and both made the situation worse. Thing is, in Lost World, Sonic knew he screwed up and tried to make amends. In other words, he can admit fault and make things right, or at least try to. Right now, Surge is too prideful to admit that her methods are wrong. Whether she'll change her methods down the line remains to be seen. As for her partner in crime, Kid is making good on his plans to secretly cause chaos so that Surge can be a hero to the people. It didn't quite work out for them due to the presence of actual heroes. But he's going to keep doing this for the foreseeable future, which makes his actions frightening in general. Turtle Shell Island's town only survived thanks to the right people being at the right place at the right time. When Kit does this sort of thing again, there is no guarantee that the right people will be present to fix things. That said, even though Kit still has his conditioned hatred towards Tails, seriously, you can see the vibe coming off him. He does follow Tails' instructions regarding helping Blaze, though only after being told to do so by Surge. One thing I like about the issue, besides the world building aspect, which I always enjoy, is that it subverts the unspoken plan guarantee trope with regards to saving the town. For those unaware, it's when someone explains a plan in detail, and a lot of times, things can go very wrong. Not in this case. Although the trope was kind of played straight regarding the checkup on the network plan. Things were going well for the trio until they reached Turtle Shell Island, and then disaster struck. But it ultimately worked out. Overall, issue 78 shows that while the restoration took a licking, it keeps on ticking. It's also the most lighthearted entry in this arc compared to the drama of issue 75's Fallout, the intrigue and twist of the previous issue, and what's likely going to be an intense showdown next issue. Speaking of which, Whisper being out in the open is more than likely bait to lure in Mimic, and according to the caption here, this is most likely going to be the final confrontation. Will it though? And how are Tangle and Silver going to play into this? We'll find out in issue 79. See ya then. Wait, that image on one of the balloons. Is that Next from Sonic X? That's an odd reference.